Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Pollock, and I am the Customer Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, BI Made Easy, Fast Track Your Business Intelligence Initiatives, presented by DataSelf. Before we get started, I want to go over some housekeeping items. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise to a minimum. However, throughout the webinar, you can submit any questions you have. If you'd like to submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar or the chat box, and we'll answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this presentation, and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as those who registered but were unable to attend. And finally, we would appreciate your participation in our closing poll and survey. With that said, we appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy day to attend this webinar, and I'm going to hand it off to Don and Johnny for the main event.
Thanks very much, Courtney, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for spending time with us to learn a little bit more about business intelligence-based reporting, and how you can fast track your BI initiative. I'm Don Farber. I'm a business analyst with DataSelf, and I am joined by Johnny Girardi, the founder and CEO of DataSelf. Just to give you a little idea for how today is going to go, I'm going to start out with a brief overview talking about business intelligence, how it fits into your ERP application, and how you can fast track it. That'll take about 10 to 12 minutes or so, at which point I'm going to hand over the proceedings to my colleague Johnny, who will take you through a brief demonstration of the DataSelf business intelligence solution. So let's start off with a little bit of background about DataSelf. We've been around since 2005, but our focus on data warehousing and business intelligence really began right around 2010. So we've been at this for about 12, 13 years now. Our mission has been to enable organizations like yours to quickly and easily add BI-based reporting as a complement to your existing application-specific reporting, such as what you get out of your ERP solution today. And please note, I make particular mention of the word complement because that's key for understanding where and how BI fits. We're going to talk more about that in just about a minute. By enabling organizations to easily add BI-based reporting, what we're doing is we're allowing you to better understand how, why, and where your business is growing, declining, or changing, and enable you to make better and faster decisions in response. All right, so let's focus on this first concept of the complementary position of BI-based reporting with your existing ERP reports. So let's ask the question, how do ERP reports differ from BI-based reports? Well, ERP reporting really focuses on what you are doing right now in your ERP application. And great examples of ERP reports include AR aging, stock status, orders that are going to ship today, etc. We tend to refer to these reports as microscopic in nature in that they're focusing down to the level of detail. They are most often operational in nature. They're looking at specific tasks or processes such as invoicing. They are transactional. They're looking at the raw data in your ERP database, and as such are not doing much in the way of aggregating or totaling information in your ERP system. Now let's contrast that with BI-based reporting. BI-based reporting really focuses not so much on what you're doing, but how you're doing. And whereas ERP tends to focus on what's happening right now, BI reporting is doing some of that, but also is doing a lot of focus on historical and future, and particularly on using historical performance to project future performance. Now, great examples of BI-based reports are things like high-risk debt clients. And let me take a moment to contrast that with your AR aging report. AR aging out of ERP lets you see the status of all your clients and their receivables. Whereas in BI, this concept of a high-risk debt client report lets you identify those clients who are at greatest risk of defaulting in their payments. Now, a second example of a BI style report is inventory planning. And again, we can contrast that with a stock status report. Stock status out of your ERP is showing you what you've got on hand, on order, on sales order, on back order, etc. Now that's great. That lets you see where you are today. But inventory planning uses past performance, what sales have taken place with different items over certain time frames, um, and then looking at what purchase orders are coming in, et cetera, to let you look in the future, to let you know whether you're going to have enough stock to fulfill orders next week, next month, or maybe even the month after that. Now, we tend to refer to these BI reports as telescopic in nature because they are more strategic. They're goal specific. They're looking at performance, whether it's sales performance or even cash flow. As such, they're often trend focused, but very importantly, even though these BI reports are looking for the most part at bigger pictures, they allow infinite drill down. So that, okay, I can see that a certain customer, perhaps their sales have dropped some. Let's drill down into seeing what products have decreased, and let's actually get down to the transactional level to see the individual orders for those items. Now, as such, BI-based reporting also typically involves very sophisticated calculations. And that's an essential part of BI reporting. And we'll talk about how we can enable your ERP data to be ready for those sophisticated calculations. All right. Now, the truth is that BI reporting does not replace ERP reporting. In fact, it's very complementary in nature. And you can see how ERP reporting is focusing on the now, on the tasks at hand, and the BI reporting is more strategic, looking forward, trend analysis, etc. It is absolutely essential that you have both to make the greatest use of your ERP data. Don't let anyone ever tell you that here, we've got a BI reporting tool that completely replaces what your ERP reporting offers. That's not true. They need to work in concert. Now, there is one additional benefit to BI-based reporting, and it has the wonderful phrase of a single version of the truth. But let's talk about what that really means. Your ERP reporting by nature focuses on what's in your ERP application, whereas BI-based reporting looks not only at ERP, but into your other applications, into your other databases. So any database, any data source, any source of information that it would benefit you to be able to analyze that, not only individually, but also jointly. For example, if I've got a customer who's behind on payments in ERP, I might want to know, does that customer have any open sales opportunities over in CRM? Because again, that can lead me to make a better decision regarding that client's account management. So a single version of the truth, looking at all of your applications, both singly and jointly. All right. So I think we can agree that based upon what each type of reporting has to offer, BI-based reporting is indeed essential for organizations. However, it can be, and often is, very challenging to build a BI solution from scratch. There are a lot of things you need to be aware of, starting with simply connecting a BI application to your ERP data. But it's not just a matter of hooking up the two. Your ERP data needs to be cleaned. It needs to be optimized in a way that the data has had calculations performed on it already, aggregating that data. Of course, restricting sensitive data, controlling who sees what, and the list goes on. I actually had an initial list that was closer to 20 items long here for all the steps that you needed for taking a BI implementation from scratch. I could only fit half of them on this slide, so we'll have to be happy with just 10. But that's still too many to do by yourself from scratch. So now we get to the concept of how can we fast track this process? And in fact, there are 3 specific steps that you can take to fast track your BI implementation. Step 1, optimize your ERP data. And what I mean by that is that you need to look at your BI solution. One component has to be a data optimization component that transforms your ERP data, that cleans it, that aggregates it, that ensures secure connectivity to it. Take those first 3 or 4 steps from that list of 10 and replace them with 1. optimize your ERP data so that it's ready to be interrogated. So then there's the interrogation step, and we need this step to be made as easy as possible. You know, for too many organizations, when a new report needs to be run, that request goes down to someone down in tech, someone down in IT somewhere, and they're asked to please write this report for them. And often then days or weeks can intervene until that person has had the time and the expertise to create that new report. So one of the key components in terms of fast tracking BI is to provide a user interface that non-technical people, business users, can utilize to do their own reporting. And Johnny will show you an example of that once we get into the technical demo. And the third step in this three-step process for fast tracking BI is, as useful as it is to allow business users to easily create ad hoc reports of their own. Well, guess what? The truth is that you know that there are a bunch of typical reports, analytics that you need. It might be cash flow optimization or just cash flow performance over the coming weeks and months. Inventory stock optimization. Again, we talked about high-risk debt clients. There are easily 50 to 100 or more of these standard analytical reports, and you shouldn't have to take a BI solution and start writing those reports from scratch yourself. What you're looking for here is a library, a collection of pre-configured reports, dashboards, and KPIs that you can use out of the box, and very importantly, that you can easily tailor to the specific uses of your organization. And if you look at the far right-hand section of this particular slide, if you embrace these three concepts of power, ease, and speed, what you end up with is a BI solution that's been fast-tracked and that gives you the benefits such as 360-degree business view, a solution that's automated, streamlined, that gives you insight in seconds, etc. But that's enough from me. I think I've whet your appetite in terms of what a BI solution can offer and how you can go about streamlining the adoption of a BI technology. So at this point, what I'd like to do is to turn the proceedings over to my colleague, Johnny, so that he can give you a demonstration of the DataSelf BI solution. Johnny, I've just handed over controls to you, my friend.
Thank you, Don. Can you hear me?
I sure can, and we are now seeing your window.
Perfect. Thank you, Don. Again, this is Johnny Girardi, DataSelf founder and CEO. I was a software engineer in my early career, eventually became a business person. And 20 years ago, I joined the business intelligence industry, seeing two main pain points that I decided to help. One pain point is decision makers. You know they have the data, it's there in their ERP system, in their CRM, and the payroll, and they complain, why can I get insights from my own data anytime, anywhere, without calling without calling for help? So frustration from decision makers is one of the pains that I've been working on to solve. The second pain point is for the business analysts, for the report designers, those that are trying to keep up with the demand from decision makers to come up with more reports and dashboards and whatnot. How can we get those people better tools, more powerful tools, so they can automate the repetitive part of reporting? Let computers do repetitive part, so people can focus on the intelligence part. So these two pain points we've been working on. Don was explaining the journey that usually companies go through to fast track business intelligence. And what I show in my screen is how the DataSelf approach works. We have those three steps: the power, the ease, and the speed. The power step, which is usually a very critical one, because many companies, when they're having pains with their ERP reporting, is because their ERP reporting is not a BI tool and is underpowered, and they need something to tackle loss of data, complicated business rules. So we use SQL Server as a database platform. People call a reporting database or a data warehouse. Well, it's a SQL Server database with the main goal of tackling sophisticated, complicated reporting needs. And we use our own DataSelf ETL tool. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, loading, is what Don alluded to, a data optimization tool. With ETL tool, we make it easier and faster for business analysts and BI people to quickly get data out of your transaction systems, your ERP, your payroll, and whatnot, into a SQL Server database and optimize this data for analysis. So this is the power step, is giving these people the tools that they can really handle complicated things with lots of data. Once this step has been properly set up for your business, then the next step, which is the ease. The ease, like Don mentioned, is, well, now we're talking about decision makers. You want to be able to find the reports, find the KPIs, slice and dice them, create new questions, find new answers by themselves anytime and anywhere. And we leverage three main tools for that, Tableau, Power BI, and Excel. Excel is very popular, so many people want to enhance Excel reporting. We absolutely use Excel out of the Power step, and we make Excel faster, not crashing. You can slice and dice a lot of things. But if you look at Tableau and Power BI, these two tools for the past 7 years in a row, they have been considered the most empowering reporting and dashboarding tools for business users. It's amazing how easier it is to find KPIs and to slice and dice them anytime, anywhere when you use these tools. And when I go to the product presentation, I'm going to show some examples how that happens, how that works. So we use those tools for the easy step. In the last step, the speed, like Don mentioned, for the system that we list on the bottom, and I know in the audience we have some people from Acumatica, using Acumatica, Sage 100, Sage 500, Sage Business Works and whatnot. We have lots of reports and dashboards in a library. You know, if you were to go with a top tier solution, the library has more than 8,000 reports and dashboards. Yeah, nobody needs 8,000, but what I can guarantee is lots of the reports that today you are struggling with, you might be running too slowly, it's crashing your reports, or it takes forever to get the answer to the decision makers. Many of those pain points, they're probably already in this library, or with a few tweaks, you can get this library completely reconfigured or personalized to individuals in your company. So the time that it takes to get decision makers to find the answers using the library as a way to expedite the process is a big part of the speed of fast tracking BI. The other part of the speed is just how long it takes to run my reports. In our benchmark, if a report takes more than 10 seconds, that's too long to run. In many business users, they'll not wait if a report doesn't run in seconds, no matter how much data you have. In DataSelf, our benchmark is every single report must run under 10 seconds. If it's taking longer than 10 seconds, give us a call, because probably we have to tweak some steps on the power step to guarantee the reports will run super duper fast. And no matter how much data you have, how many companies, it should be running fast no matter what. So this is how we use our technology to fast track BI, power, ease, and speed. What I'm going to show as a product in my product presentation, I'm going to show first the business user experience. So if I'm a decision maker, a salesperson, a CFO, somebody in the inventory planning, I want to see certain things in DataSelf. I want to show how the solution works out of the box and how easy it is to modify things. And after I show the business user experience, I'm going to show a little bit of, how we empower the business analysts, the BI people, with the tools, with the powerful tools, so they can quickly customize the solution for your specific needs. So we'll go through those two steps. And by the way, when I show the technical side, I'll also show quickly how easy it is to deploy it. Like we mentioned here, we can deploy the solution in minutes if you have one of these systems. So it's very quick to get this powerful solution up and running, pulling data from your from your data sources. All right, let's go and actually show the product. And the first part I'm going to be showing of DataSelf is one of the most powerful functionality for business users. Quite often, business users, they have ad hoc questions that there's no report ready to be answered. And today, when those questions are popped, quite often, they have a question, there's no report ready, so they'll have to either wait until someone can come up with the report, and wait means usually hours, days, sometimes weeks. But nowadays, many times people cannot wait. They have to make a decision now. If you don't have the data, guess what? You wing it. You make the best decision you can, have whatever you find, and you move on. Regardless if you wait or wing it, it's not a good solution. With DataSelf, part of the technology we have is called natural language query. Natural language query is like, when you go to Google or to Bing, you ask a question in plain English. You need to know English is the only language supported. But fortunately, in the US, many of us speak English. As long as you ask the question correctly and the data is there, the solution will build a report instantly and accurately answer the question if the technology has the data points to answer. I'm going to give an example. Right now, I'm connected to the sales data in my organization, and I'm going to ask, show me sales by salesperson in 2022. Just a question in English. I press enter, and the tool instantly and accurately build a new report from scratch with the answer to that question. So by salesperson, it shows sales in a descending order in that particular period. This report didn't exist a few seconds ago, and it just answered this ad hoc question, just like in Google. And maybe I want to see more things. I want to see it actually this broken down by month. So I type in by month, press enter, and the tool again will respin a new report. And now it's showing by salesperson using lines with different colors, showing sales by month in 2022. So right there. Now, as the person is asking questions and getting answers, sometimes the answer is in a format that the person doesn't like or doesn't want, or is not very informative. Maybe I'm not a chart kind of person, I'm an accountant. I like numbers. Show me numbers by the penny. You can quickly take any of these representations that the tool give you an answer in a certain format and change the visualization. And text table is one of the most popular. Just show me, please, numbers by the penny. You choose text table. In whatever question that you ask, you get an answer. Now you get a text table like in Excel, and you can easily see the numbers by the penny, and you can continue to investigate and slice and dice it. So this part of the technology is really empowering because it will allow decision makers anytime, anywhere, using mobile devices, their tablets, their phones, or even a computer, to interrogate their data and get answers instantly and accurately. Very empowering. Now, just like in Google, this will not answer all the questions. So what happens if I ask a question and the tool cannot understand and doesn't give me an answer the way that I want? Well, in Google, you usually have to call someone, right? There's no answer on the internet. Here, I'm going to show some other pieces of the DataSelf technology that can also help with more elaborate reporting needs. In the next one that is very popular is what we call the slicer. The slicer is kind of a replacement or a complement to kind of the Excel pivot table. I know many companies using Excel pivot tables to analyze their data. And some of the challenges of Excel pivot table is, well, sometimes people don't know how current the data is. They get an Excel pivot table, they look at the numbers, but is this data current? Sometimes they don't know. And if they press the refresh button, sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes it crashes Excel, or it takes 2 hours to load the data. So it's slow and crashing. You might accidentally email the Excel to the wrong person. There's a lot of issues that people face when they use Excel as a reporting tool, especially on the pivot table side. This is the equivalent of a pivot table, but on steroids. having secured access to this portal, anytime, anywhere, you can open this Excel pivot table on steroid, and you can analyze and drill down the data and getting answers instantly. Like in this example, I'm looking at sales by customer. So showing sales by customer in a given period. Let me just select, let's say, periods 2 and 3. So just select different periods. When you press apply, this runs in seconds. No matter how much data you have, runs in seconds. And it's showing data as of right now. All right, well, I want to see a different report. I want to see sales by salesperson. Like in pivot table, you can choose the options available. And this list here is pre-configured out of the box. And you can personalize this list, make it longer, add optional fields and whatnot. Once you customize the list, now as a business person, I just have to know how to pick and choose. So if I want to see salesperson, I select salesperson. Now I'm seeing sales by salesperson in whatever period that I selected. Okay, hey, I also want to see sales by salesperson broken down by something else, like by item. Sure, I can expand to the second column. Right now, I already have my item pre-selected, so, oh, that was easy. Sales by salesperson by item, those 2 months. Well, I want to go further. I want to see sales also broken down by customer. I can drill down again, go to the next column, and choose the next slicer. And it's very straightforward to build this amazing way to slice and dice the data and even pick different measures. I mean, right now I'm looking at my sales. What if I want to see gross profit or quantity sold? You just pick and choose, press apply, and you get the answer in front of your eyes. So the ability to do pivot table on a steroid anytime, anywhere, and running things in seconds is usually an amazing value for those companies struggling with doing things like this in Excel. And the good news is if at any point you want to export this to Excel, pretty much in a few clicks, you can click here and export the data, goes to Excel, and now you can do anything that you want in Excel. So easy, fast, powerful, but if you want to export into Excel, PowerPoint, and emails, it's just a few clicks away. So we talked about natural language being amazing for ad hoc questions. We talked about the slicer replacing pivot tables. The next example I'm going to be talking about is one that many business users love, because quite often business users, they have a set of KPIs or metrics that they want to monitor in a certain frequency, some daily, some weekly, some monthly, maybe some quarterly. In different people, in different groups of people might want to see different pieces of the business in a certain frequency. And once they see the metrics, sometimes they want to analyze why something is better or worse than expected. And usually, to give this kind of perspective, people use what's called the dashboards. And I'm going to show one example of a dashboard in DataSelf that is available out of the box. And again, I'm focusing on the sales side of things. This dashboard looks kind of busy at first, but if you're a salesperson, usually what you want to see, if you have recurring business year over year, is to see how you are doing this year versus the same period last year, and see if there's something too good or too bad that you need to use special attention. So in this example, you can pick the year, you can pick the period. So I'm going to select periods through period 9. So I'm looking year to date through period 9. I press apply, and then I can see the totals for this year, the total for last year, and the variance in dollar and percentage. So big numbers. And then I have ways to visually see kind of a drill down of this big number. This one shows the same trend, dark blue for this year, light blue for last year, so I can see what's happening on a monthly basis. I can see the same information now broken down by territory. In this example, if I put the mouse over New Jersey, which is red, meaning is declining, I see there is a 1% decline in sales, while Texas is growing by 2%. And let's say, hey, cool, Texas is growing by 2%. What's happening with Texas? If I click this bubble in Texas, it will change the whole dashboard to only show sales to Texas. Total sales to Texas, sales by period, customer sales and item sales in taxes. Oh, interesting. Now, as a user, when I start to interact with my data and I was curious about taxes that is growing, I look at my customer and I see, sales last year and this year, and look at my top customer has a major decline in sales. Uh-oh, or the aha, what happened? I thought I was growing taxes. Yes, you are. You have 2 clients growing a lot, but the top one last year is actually declining this year. And maybe you didn't know about this. So the question is why? What's happening with this customer? Well, if I click this bar that shows a decline, so now what's happening is I'm filtering again the whole dashboard only to show in taxes for this customer, the totals, the trend analysis in what products are driving the decline. And I can tell there's the hot dog, the potato chips and whatnot. Those 4 top products are driving the majority of the decline. Maybe there's a competitor knocking the door and taking my client away. The idea is I started with a big picture dashboard showing a bunch of charts, and then I found some interesting things. Texas is growing. Let's check it out, Texas. Uh-oh, there's a client with declining. What's happening? Then you see what the products are declining. Sometimes you need to drill down, like I just showed, or across. Or maybe I want to see the details. Show me the transaction level detail. Sure, I can come over here and I can select these, let's say these 4 products. I select them, and then I say, show me the details. And now the solution will show the underlying data behind the scenes, invoice number, quantity sold, sales, every single line, invoice line information that roll up into this parameter so I can see more granularity. But the main idea here is to give decision makers the ability to look at dashboards daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever the frequency is. In every individual or group of people, they're going to have their own dashboards. They can look at the big picture, and if they find some outliers, you can allow them to interact with their data until they see the why that's happening, and then they take an action. Let me call someone. Let me call the client. Let me call the account manager for this customer and see if we can resolve this problem here. This power that I'm just showing, it's not available in ERP reporting. You have to use BI. In ours, out of the box, already come pre-configured with a lot of these reports and dashboards ready to go. Don also mentioned a couple of some other examples, like the high-risk debt customers. This is one of the dashboards available out of the box. As I mentioned, we have thousands of reports and dashboards. I'm just showing a few out of thousands. This one is showing AR, looking at some charts, totals, classifying customers in high risk, showing the high risk customers in more detail with the bars, how much they're owe you in money and what kind of a bucket each of the invoices are. And here you see all the details. If you want to see one of them, you just click on one of these data points and the whole dashboard will change to focus on giving insight in that particular data point. Very interactive. I'm going to show one more example. Don also mentioned cash flow projection. This is a very popular dashboard in our client base. Cash flow projection pretty much takes and looks at how much money you have today, how much money is going to go out of the door in open APs, recurring bills, things of that nature, how much money is coming inbound from your open receivables, your loans, whatever you're receiving, and then based on those data points, it looks at today, and then bars going up is money coming in, bars going down is money going out. In this example, we're showing some simple data points, and this line here shows the aggregation, and you can see what's happening with your potential cash flow. All interactive. If I see this day I have this major drop in my cash flow, if I select that day, quickly on the right, it will show specifically which documents in your ERP and other systems are feeding into your cash flow to give you such a decline in your cash flow in that particular day. Very interactive. All right, so this is pretty much the end user experience in DataSelf. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of how DataSelf gives the business analysts the power so they can personalize and configure DataSelf, so the business user will have this ease and speed that I just showed you so far. And I'm going to start showing, first of all, how easy it is to connect. When I mentioned it takes minutes to deploy DataSelf for all of the systems. Primarily, this is the main tool, DataSelf ETL Plus, that can connect to your source, can be on-premises Sage systems, can be Acumatic in the cloud, can be Salesforce.com, ADP, anything. In this example, I'm showing Sage 100 as a data source because most of you apparently come from the Sage 100 world. But primarily, you define here which sources you want to pull data from. You can pull data from multiple systems. In this case, it's Sage 100. You just define where your Sage 100 is. You put the credentials. You got security covered. Once we connect ETL Plus to your Sage 100, you can see all the tables from Sage 100 available for reporting if you want to extract the data self, or if this would be the Acumatic DAC layer, or this could be the Sage 500 data tables. The left, you see the sources. In the middle is what's pre-configured. Right now, I'm showing a subset of the tables pre-configured for Sage 100. If you select the invoice header here, you can see how this is being configured. We only bring data on deltas. The first load brings everything. After the first load, we only bring data that has changed since the last refresh. So very straightforward. And if you say, hey, actually, I need to import a new table. How can I import a new table? You go to the source, you pick a table. Let's say I want to bring AP audit. You double click, and now you added a new table. And then we have a new table now called AP audit in the middle section. It shows the SQL statement. You don't need to know all of these things. The tool builds for you, and you say, load me the data now. And you right click, you load the data. And now the AP audit that before didn't exist is part of the DataSelf solution. If you want to load all the data from Sage 100 or from your source system, you say load all at the header level. In the solution, we'll start bringing all the data from your system, whatever it is, into DataSelf. Here it shows that the things are being loaded. Loaded means all the data. Replaced means is a delta. For large tables, we only bring what has changed since the last refresh. So ongoing refresh is really, really fast. All this data is populated into a SQL Server database. So if you know SQL, you'll know how amazing it is to do reporting out of SQL. If you want to use your Crystal reports, your reporting services, your Excel, all there quickly to get data out of the SQL is much faster than if you were to pull directly from your ERP system. One example is financials. Many accounting people, they love their financials in Excel. This is one example of getting a P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statements in Excel, but running in seconds because the heavy-duty logic of the financials is done in SQL. In Excel is just rendering the data, so reports run very, very quickly in Excel as well. So I just gave you a very quick overview over the power and ease steps behind the scenes. If you guys want to go into more technical discussions of how this can help the business analysts and BI people, I recommend to give us a call and we can show all the bells and whistles. And primarily, this will automate a lot of the data feed into the easy step so your decision makers can focus on data analysis. That was my presentation. I'm going to go into one slide before I give back to Don. So I showed the technology of DataSelf in how we accelerate power, ease, and speed for users. Now, quite often when people embrace a BI technology like DataSelf, you may also want some support to install the solution, to get some customization initially, and to get trained. We have our team we call the Data Force Squad. We are about 25 people. We're super excited about helping our clients. Many of us have been doing this for 15, 20 years. We know Sage systems, we know Acumatica, Salesforce, we know data warehousing, Tableau, Power BI, and Excel. And we're here to help you be more successful, training your tech team to be more self-sufficient, and also assisting your decision makers if needed to make more informed decisions. We're here to complement your expertise to accelerate you or to fast track your business intelligence to get more information out of your systems. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you for granting me control of the window. Let me, actually, Johnny, I think you need to make me presenter so that I can share my screen.
Yep. I'll do that.
Thank you kindly. Perfect, much appreciated. All right, well, thanks, Johnny. I appreciate you going through the product for everyone. And as I was watching your demonstration, the same message kept on kind of circling through my head, which was the difference between ERP reporting and BI reporting. And ERP reporting is about what an organization is doing. And the BI reporting is all about how you're doing and why. So I think that final part of it, the and why, why are we doing better or worse here? Why is it changing? So I think it's not only how are we doing, but why are we doing better, worse, etc. All right, so I have just a couple last concepts to go through. The first thing, and you'll notice, at least I hope everyone will notice, that I've brought us to the DataSelf website. And I'm not going to go further. Well, I'm going to go one click further than this home page. I wanted to draw your attention to the options over on the right-hand side so you can drill in, get more details about the DataSelf solution. You can sign up for a free trial of the DataSelf solution. The one option I did want to go to, because I wanted to speak to it a little bit, I'm sure everyone's interested to know, how is DataSelf licensed and priced? So let me spend just a couple of minutes on this slide. You'll see that there are 4 options for DataSelf license types. In fact, there are 3 similar options, 3 fully fledged BI reporting options, being Advanced, Pro, and Enterprise. And then for those organizations that are looking for a powerful data extraction, transformation, optimization tool, that was the part of the demo that Johnny referred to as ETL+. Again, extract, transform, and load. That can be had as a separate standalone item, and you can see its price at $99 a month. But then if you want to go kind of to the full BI-enabled reporting route, your options are the 3 to the right. Starting at $3.99 a month for advanced, all the way up through what we call the DataSelf Analytics Enterprise solution. I'm not going to go through all of the various options and kind of parameters for each of these license options. You can go through them at your leisure. I will say this, that if you do decide to give DataSelf a try, you can try out the Pro version. That's the one version we offer a free trial for. So we certainly encourage you to give that a try. It's also our most commonly purchased variety. And of course, we have folks who might start with a lower end solution like Advanced and move up over time. But I just wanted to put those options, those parameters, and those prices for you so you have an idea where DataSelf is priced. Right. So let me jump back into my PowerPoint because I do have just a couple of last slides I want to discuss, and then we'll leave time for Q&A. Now, the prices that I just showed you, those are monthly prices, but we do license on an annual basis. And we do have a current promotion that's taking place, which is if by the end of next month, March of 2023, you opt to purchase an annual subscription to DataSelf, we're going to give you that annual subscription with an extra month. So you're basically paying for 12 months, getting a 13th month for free. And for more details about that, certainly speak with your SWK CAM. We've been working with SWK successfully for many, many years now. We're very happy to have awarded them the Partner of the Year award for 2022. We've worked together, great partnership with the SWK folks. And of course, feel free to go out to that dataself.com website to get more information, to get, for example, lists of some of the other analytics and dashboards and KPIs that are in our reports library. So at this point, let me stop talking and let's open up the lines for Q&A. You can enter your questions either via chat, via Q&A. And Courtney, I think we had some questions come in a little bit earlier when folks were initially signing up for this webinar.
Yes, thank you so much, Dawn and Johnny. I always love getting to see something new about DataSelf. Everyone here at SWK loves the product, so I like when we do these demos. I get to learn a little bit more every time because there's so much in that program. But now we're going to move into Q&A. We do have a few questions, and we have, you can submit more in the questions section or the chat section. And we're also going to ask for your participation in a quick poll while you're getting those questions in. So I'm launching that now. We just want to know if you want to learn more about DataSelf. So like Johnny said, he showed you, a very short, quick version, but there's a lot more there. So if you want a more personalized demo, talk about more of your business challenges and what you have going on, please let us know. If you just want some more information, sent over to you, we can do that as well. So thank you for everyone participating in the poll and entering in questions, and we're going to start answering those shortly. And thank you. This is great. I think almost everyone's participated in the poll. That's the first for me. So thank you to everyone out there. And we're going to close that down if you haven't had a chance to answer yet. Okay, thank you. And then thank you for everyone that's entered questions. You can keep entering questions as you want, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So Dawn and Johnny, our first question is about integration. So someone in the audience would like to know if DataSelf integrates with Sage Business Works, and they have a bit of more issue there. They're currently using custom reports to extract data and download to an Excel to custom reports, but often the fields they need originate from various data sources, so they can't access with one report. So can you tell us, what softwares you do integrate with, and how DataSelf product can solve that issue of the multiple report issue?
Yep, I'll take a stab at that. Good question. So DataSelf, it's a generic it's a generic business intelligence solution. So it has the components to get data from any data source, Business Works, and other systems. When we showed before that at the bottom of our diagram, we had a few different ERP systems like Sage and Acumatic and whatnot, that those systems that are listed there is that we already have lots of the tables pre-mapped into our report library. For Business Works, we don't have that extra layer pre-configured out of the box. No, we don't. But we can absolutely get Business Works data out of it into the SQL data warehouse in the other tables and data that you have somewhere else. Put them in SQL, link them together, and you don't need DataSelf to do it. We need to teach someone how to fish. So this person will get the data out of Business Works, put in the SQL, link things, whatever that needs to be linked, and then connect to the easy step like Tableau and Power BI or Excel, and then the data was going to be automatically crunched and available for analysis. So the answer is yes. We don't have a pre-configured set of templates for Business Works, but if you're having lots of pains doing this reporting today manually in Excel or not, we can probably automate most of the mechanical part that today you guys are doing manually.
Great, thank you, Johnny. Our next question is about linking. So right now, they're not only interested in linking to Sage 100 ERP database, but also pulling data from SQL tables from reporting. So can you talk about if DataSelf can help with this?
Yep, good question as well. When I mentioned about the power step that I talked about, the SQL Server database, reporting database or data warehouse, that's one of the most important components to combine data from what we call multiple data silos. In your case, you have Sage 100 for reporting, and you have SQL databases doing something else. And the idea of the DataSelf data warehouse is get the raw data out of your data silos. So bring Sage 100, which we already have pre-mapped lots of Sage 100 tables, and then create a new source, which is going to be your SQL Server database or databases. And if you want to pull more things, Excel, if you want to pull ADP data, doesn't matter, bring all of this data into the data warehouse. And quite often this data is related, right? You have ERP data from Sage, but maybe you have inventory, I don't know, POS in your SQL or consulting services, but it's related to your invoices, to your payroll. You can link all of that data in the data warehouse, plug it to your Tableau, Power BI, or Excel data model. And then once you do that, automatically the system will extract the data, refresh the logic, and populate the easy step where decision makers will be able to slice and dice the data anytime and anywhere. So yes, we can absolutely combine SQL data with the Sage 100 data.
Great, that's great to know. Don, I think you had a couple questions come through on your end.
Yes, I do. Thanks, Courtney. So, Johnny, I'm going to put this next question to you as well, which is we've got a relatively new ERP user who is familiar with both Tableau and Power BI. He's heard that they're the two most highly rated BI layers, but what he's confused about is which one should he choose when using DataSelf? I mean, do we tell him which one that he has to use for his app, or does he get to choose? How does the licensing work with both Tableau and Power BI with DataSelf?
Very good question. This question is very popular, especially if you're paying attention to marketing. Each one of them, Tableau and Power BI, each one is going to be claiming they're the best and blah blah blah. You know marketing, how it works. So it's very confusing to know which one is the best fit. Usually I tell if the company already has invested heavily in one of them, the good news is, well, these are the top two. So if you already invest in one of the two, you already made a good choice, run with it. If you have not invested heavily or you're still in the early stages of the investment, call us because even though they are amazing tools per se, but each one, they work slightly different. And depending on your specific needs in your specific model today, one might be better than the other. In order to be able to articulate which one is the best one, we will ask you probably several questions. And based on your answer, you're going to tell where each one is better or is worst, or is kind of weaker, and tell you in our assessment which one might be a better fit in the long run. Usually in our journey with new prospects and clients, a big part of the initial engagement is understanding your pains, why you're having pains, what tools are the best fit in our experience to tackle them, and if you decide to do business with us, how we can accelerate fixing those pains. So I always tell people, Tableau and Power BI, they're both amazing, each one with the strengths and weakness. Which one is the best for you? Schedule a call with us. We can talk about your specific situation and make a dedicated assessment. Keep in mind, we've been doing this for about 17 years. We have done this for hundreds of organizations. So we have a pretty broad experience of using these tools for different cases, and we should be able to make a very good assessment of which one will be the most likely the best fit for your future BI journey.
Thanks, Johnny. And I have one other question. I think this comes in from a like-minded person with their thoughts about how marketing is, because this person says that they noticed on one of our slides, and I think it was one of yours, Johnny, that it said deploys in minutes for, and then it mentioned Sage and Acumatica, et cetera. And he says that he thinks that might be a little bit of marketing exaggeration. So he wants to ask us a very specific question, which is this: with his Sage 100 implementation, and he's running under ProvideX, is it likely or feasible to get meaningful analytics out of DataSelf within a single day? That is, they haven't done anything with DataSelf, and then to get kind of DataSelf, deployed, hooked into their Sage 100, and actually start getting analytics, dashboards, et cetera, out. Can it be done within a single day?
It's a good question, right? The devil is in the details.
That's right.
Well, the good, there's the devil's all in the details. Let me put some major data points, and then I'm going to elaborate on the answer. about half of our clients across all systems, you know, Sage 100, Sage 300, and X3. Well, X3 is not really, usually X3 is a little bit of a different animal, but Acumatica, in other systems, about half of them, the DataSelf out-of-the-box solution, as is, requires little to no customization from a BI, you know, plumbing standpoint to get value. That means that about half our clients, we deploy DataSelf in minutes. You know, the actual, of course, there's security. We need to schedule time, and then sometimes security doesn't work. Something would take, you know, half an hour, now it takes 3 days. But it's not because BI doesn't work. It's because you might have a very tight security system that we need to get over that security hump. But once we get over the security hump, typically the actual deployment, it's half an hour, 1 hour, and then we have to wait the system to load the data to DataSelf, which can take minutes, hours, and sometimes even days if you have a ton of data. But once this process is completed, about half of our clients will have meaningful analytics out of DataSelf. Now, if your business is more sophisticated, the devil is in the detail, you might fall into the other half where no, you know, after the initial deployment, we might have a lot of things done, but you might have lots of customization in your ERP system that someone that has been training DataSelf needs to need to personalize the system, user-defined fields, new tables, budgeting populating in Excel, not in the ERP. And then in most cases, when you don't fall into the half that is up and running in about a day, usually takes, you know, days to weeks. We usually tell people in about a month, we will get the system deployed in the first day. We'll work with your team to customize whatever needs to be customized, and usually within 1 month, then the system becomes fully customized to analysis, assuming you have an average, complexity. So half the clients pretty quick, in about a day. Is not marketing, is reality. The other half depends on the devil, and it might take, you know, days to weeks to adapt to your specific needs.
Excellent. Well, I just got a response that said that your answer sounded like an answer from an engineer as opposed to an answer from someone in marketing. So thank you very much for that. I don't have any additional questions on my side. Courtney, just checking back with you.
No, I think that's all for our Q&A today. So, you know, so if we've got all the questions answered, I don't think we have any last minute submissions. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy day to join us. We're all busier and busier these days. So thank you for being with us here today. And of course, you know, if you answer the polls, we'll reach out to you if that's what you'd like. And if not, you can always reach out to your SWK contact and they will connect you with Don, Johnny, DataSelf, and, you know, we'll get you what you need. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Courtney. Thanks, everyone. Take care.